So if you have an audience and you have not made a single dollar coaching or running your mentorship yet, then you're probably doing it all backwards. And the idea is pretty simple. You just need to stop building the courses that nobody asked for. I'm going to show you how you can get your first paying client within 7 days, and I'm going to show you how you can validate your offer without having to build anything up front. And I'm going to show you how to go from $0 to your first client in 7 days with no course, no tech, no BS. Everything that you need to go ahead and get your first client will be in this video. And so, like I said, most creators spend months going and creating their course just to realize nobody really wants it, right? And so here's the problem and why most creators fail in the first place. So the typical path that you would think, which is the wrong path, I would say, is 1, you would build a course. 2 months, I would say, is a good time frame for you to go ahead and record everything, edit everything, even maybe come up with the ideation of what you're going to be putting into that course. And so let's just say, 2 months down the line for you to complete everything. Next thing, you build your landing page or your site. Maybe it takes 2 weeks. You create, a beautiful page or whatever. You write all the copy and stuff like that. And let's just say it takes you 2 weeks. Then it takes you another month to build the funnel, maybe all the systems in place, because remember, you're doing this all yourself. You're probably not outreaching to anybody. And you launch. And when you launch, cricket noises, because nobody is even expecting it. Nobody knows that you're launching this in the first place, and you're building something that somebody might not want. Because when you think about it, you're going to build the actual course first and build whatever marketing strategy you have on that course with no validation. And so what happens? No one really buys. What I'm going to show you guys is the 7-day path, or the right path to go ahead and launch. And it's super simple. The first 2 days, what you're going to do is validate demand, getting to know what people want and what they need help with. 2, you're going to sell the outcome. From all of the information that you gathered, go ahead and sell to those people who mentioned all the problems that they had to you, or whatever they were looking for that you would maybe provide to them. 3, you need to collect the money upfront. This should take 1 or 2 days, a few calls, and this is just proof of concept that somebody is willing to pay you. And lastly, you will deliver and build. And yeah, I said, it's going to take 7 days, and this is like the whole process up here. But, once you sign the clients, you've already created that money. It should just take you about 6 weeks to deliver and build what you are actually going to provide. And so as you can see, this path here takes a long time, right? 2 months, 2 weeks, a month, whatever. And so let's just put it at a total of like 3 to 4 months. So 90 to 120 days. And this path actually just takes you 7 days to do the launch. And then you have to deliver and build out for the next few weeks to come, which is not too bad compared to all this just to lead up to maybe selling, or you end up, unfortunately, where no one buys. And so I'm going to show you the actual 7-day launch framework. Day 1 to 2, research and validate. Day 3, you create your offer. Day 4 to 5, you pre-sell. And day 6 to 7, you close deals. Let's start off with day 1 to 2. What you want to do is research and validate. And this is pretty simple. The easiest way you can research and validate is just by looking at your own audience. Your own audience, especially if you have like a decent following. And I would say a decent following nowadays does not have to be anything more than like 2 to 3K. That's what I would say a decent following is. And the reason why I say that is because someone can have 1 million followers and their follower quality is like shit, right? But somebody can also have 2 to 3K followers on, let's just say you're very popular at Amazon FBA or something like that, and you create a cult following who, 1, they're into Amazon FBA, and 2, they probably seen your content that you put out and they're following you for that reason. And so there's really going to be 3 questions that you ask your audience. And the reason why you want to ask your audience this is because your audience is going to tell you what they need. Why would you go ahead and not ask the people who are listening to you in the first place? Why would you ask some random people who don't even know you? Maybe they don't even know, what you're offering, what you even do. You need to ask your audience this. And this is through Instagram. This is probably the most easy way to connect with your audience because, 1, it's a platform for social media, reels, videos, posts, stories, or whatever, and it allows them to reach out to you easily through DMs. Story 1 here, you would ask, what is the biggest struggle that you have with your niche? And I don't know, whether it be drop shipping, some kind of e-com, trading, even door-to-door businesses, whatever it may be, you would ask the question and then you would have a few options here. Maybe you know personally that the biggest struggles within your e-com niche is supplier issues or knowing how to find a winning product. Put those as the options for them to choose. And I would maybe even have a option where it's like other. And once you get those answers in, you should be able to find, what people actually need help with. And so for the second question, this could also be in the form of a story here. You can put up, hey, if I could help you achieve blank, would you be interested? And then just have a simple yes or no. And this will do a few things. This will go ahead and tell you if your audience is willing to pay for whatever it is, or not even pay, but if they even want help in the first place. And so this is going to be really good to understand if you are in the position to go ahead and offer coaching. Maybe you get more no's than yes. That tells you a few things like, hey, maybe I should double down on content that'll drive them to go ahead and want to work with me. And lastly, this can be in the form of a DM. I would say this could also be a story as well. Something along the lines of, hey, quick question, what's holding you back from goal? And this just lets you know a little bit more in detail as far as what they do need help with, what's holding them back. Kind of like another play on the first one, but it's just more detail because they're going to be putting the specifics in there and not just the options. And so during this whole process, your job is to look for the patterns. If you see that 7 out of 10 people say the same exact problem, then you know that that is your offer. And like I said, your audience is going to tell you everything that they need to know so that you can go ahead and start advertising in a way that caters to them. Moving on to day 3, this is really creating your offer. And I would say creating your offer is super simple. In my experience in the past, people spend too much time on their offer. They want to perfect it, whatever. It doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but it just has to hit all the points. And so the real formula here, pretty basic, I would say. A lot of people use this, but it's just Alex Hormozi's formula as far as, how you can go ahead and structure your offer. So I help Avatar go from painful current state to dream outcome in time frame through your unique method. For example here, let's just say you are a coach, whatever it may be, life coach, but it could be something like this. I help burnt out and struggling coaches, that's the avatar, go from 5K a month and working 60 hours, that is the painful current state, to 50K a month working 20 hours, that is the dream outcome, in 90 days, which is the time frame, through my YouTube scaling system. And that's the unique method or whatever. So it's pretty simple, just a kind of like 5-step process where you get the avatar, the current state, the dream outcome, the time frame, and the unique method, and you put it in a way to hit all the points that your listeners need to understand that, hey, this is me that he is talking to. With that, your pricing guide, right? When you think about this, beginners with a small audience, and when I say small audience, even as low as like 1K to 3K, that's probably like small audience. I would start out with that if you have not put out an offer yet, because people wouldn't know what to expect from you. And like I said, this is kind of going to be like your beta group, so you don't want to push too high. For established creators, anywhere from the ballpark of like 10 to like 50K, you could charge a little bit more, 3K to 5K, and a proven track record, then you can charge anywhere from 5 to 10K, even more, if your offer is really good. Moving on to day 4 and 5, this is where you are going to pre-sell. And so the strategy for the pre-sell should go something like this. You want to start off with some kind of story sequence and have a background story. The reason why I say background stories are so good is because you can go ahead and leverage where you used to be and where you are now. So it could be something along the lines of, hey, 2 years ago, I was doing this. I was struggling. I didn't know the right way to go. And this is how I was able to escape that situation. And you can say something like, hey, I know how hard it was, and now I want to help those who are in my situation. I'm taking on blank coaching clients this month. If you're this person struggling with this, I'm going to try to help you achieve this outcome in this time frame. And so after that, you ended off with a CTA or a call to action. A call to action is just something so that they can go ahead and reach out to you after, you told your background story or the build up to this moment. Because once they are done reading through your whole story, they're probably going to resonate with it and they need something to go ahead and push forward so that they can start, I guess, working with you. And so it could be like a keyword. So it could be something like DM me the word growth if you want to get out of your situation with my proven system. You can also do DMs as well. And you can structure it in a way where you just start off the conversation, not really selling too hard, but it would look something like this. Hey, name, I know you've been working on Amazon FBA because I saw your post about Amazon FBA. How's that going for you? And this is how you can just work in the DMs, get people to see what their problems are, get them to realize that they need help, and then you can plug yourself as the solution. And so, who do you want to go ahead and DM at the end of the day? One, it should be people who engage with your content consistently. Two, people who ask you questions in DMs before. Three, people who said yes to your story polls. Or 4, friends/mutuals who fit the avatar. I would say with this 4, it's really give and take on your situation. If you want to go ahead and reach out to them, I know sometimes it's a little bit touchy because you don't want to necessarily sell to your friends or mutuals because I'll say this, if you can't go ahead and meet up to their expectations, it's a lot harder because it's going to affect the relationship. But at the same time, they are your friends and mutuals, and you don't want to let them down. So it could push you, but I'll definitely leave that up to you there. And so day 6 through 7, it should just be closing deals. And this is going to be through sales calls. This is kind of like a mock structure as to how you can take these sales calls. If you've been on a sales call before, you know this is how it all starts out, whether it's a coaching program, a mentorship. I know I've been through a bunch of these, being the person selling and the person trying to buy. So I know like a good decent amount as far as like the tactics, but this is just a quick general breakdown. Small talk first and report, how's it going? What made you interested? Discovery. And then you go through presenting the solution that you have and then handling objections and then closing. The goal is that you want to close 2 to 3 clients at a minimum out of like maybe 10 calls. And the reason why I'm saying this is because since it's going to be your typically like your first time taking client calls, it's going to take a little bit of experience after your first few calls, if you don't close them, to actually start closing calls because you're going to see the mistakes you made. And this is very common, right? So don't be like discouraged if you don't close these first few clients. Those first few clients are going to be the actual reps that you need to see what you're doing wrong. And so that is pretty much the 7-day launch framework. It's super simple. It does a lot and it answers a lot of questions for you, whether it's like what you're actually going to be teaching, how your offer is going to be structured out, and how you're going to be able to close deals. So let's just say you've gone through the whole framework. You're at day 7. You've closed whoever you needed to close. You have 3 clients, right? 3 clients that paid you. And we're just going to give the example that they paid you $2.5K per client. And the thing is, you do want to collect upfront in full. I wouldn't really recommend you doing payment plans at the start. If you collect in full, it's going to be a lot easier for them to stay dedicated to you, especially if you are in the kind of phase of still figuring things out. Obviously, you don't need to tell them that, but it's just a way better way to get them to stick with you and so that your plans are going accordingly. 2.5K times 3, whatever, 7.5K that you have collected. And this is just great proof of concept that you are able to sell to somebody. It breaks a whole bunch of barriers in your mind, whatever. Who knows? Maybe you didn't think somebody would pay 2.5K for your services or for your coaching. A lot of times, people don't understand that there needs to be a good process that happens after the payment is collected. So always collect the payments on call there. And the reason is because if they say they are going to, send you money off camera, they're probably not going to, probably going to run away, whatever. At the end of the day, you want your sales in. So always collect on camera. After that, what you need to do is week 1, you need to kick it off and have strategy going forward. If you don't have a good week 1 or even a good 24, 48 hours, it's going to be a very hard struggle because they need to see the value in it. What you want to do is you want to schedule a welcome call while you guys are still on the call here after they did the payment, right? Schedule in a welcome call, and this should be 24 to 48 hours after the call where you just had them pay. And you want this because you need to show that you are going to put together a good plan for them. With this comes a questionnaire. So you need to also have a questionnaire ready, and you can honestly do this before you get to the day 6 and 7. Just have some good questionnaires. I would probably just look at the actual issues that you had when you first started in whatever business model you're going to be teaching and use that, because you should be able to answer those questions really well. But what this is going to do is it's going to find out exactly what they are struggling with and how you can become the solution to their issues. And then from that, you can create a custom plan based on their situation. If you don't really know how to make a custom plan, it's definitely a little bit hard, and there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. You can structure it week by week, you could structure it by modules or whatever. If you have any issues, I would always say throw it into AI. I'm not too big of a fan of like ChatGPT. I use Claude AI myself. And even with AI, sometimes it gets a little bit hard. If you need any assistance or ideology as far as like what you can use for prompts, just DM me the word prompt on my Instagram and I'll send you over what I would use. And so between the time of the sales call and the welcome call, you want to keep in communication with them all throughout. So after week 1, you're going to go to week 2 to 6. And I bundled this because it's going to be a lot of figuring out. It's going to be a lot of calls that you're taking and just feeling what your clients need from you. It's going to be 60-minute calls, give or take, right? One-on-one, and it's going to be 1 to 2 times a week. And your job here is to really just gather as much information and solve on the call there with your expertise. Once you're doing this, you really want to go ahead and record all those calls as well. And when you record the calls, you can always look back at that footage and remind yourself of the actual issues that you're having. If it comes up a few times, then you know it's a common issue. You want to gather as much information because you're going to be working on building this into a course. Like I said, these guys are your beta testers. They're going to give you all the information that you need to go ahead and scale in the right direction. Number 2, what you're going to do is you're going to give homework assignments. Lastly, you need to have unlimited tech support. Very important. You just want to be with them every step of the way, just so that you can give them the best results, because these guys are your first clients, and obviously you want to show out and show them that it is possible. In turn, it's going to be great later on with the testimonials, like I said. And what you really need to do is record the coaching calls with permission, of course. Those conversations, like I said, are going to become your course modules for later. You have to realize that you are getting paid to build your program. So don't look at it as in, okay, I got paid because, hey, I was able to close them, and that's that. I don't need to go ahead and deliver. No, you have to deliver. You must think of it as you're getting paid to build your program, not you're getting paid to just, bullshit these people. The other things you need to do as well is 1, pattern recognition. See what those first 2 to 3 clients need. Those patterns become your course. And what you also need to do is you need to position this as a custom plan for your clients. The coaching may feel a little bit disorganized at first, but you must make them aware from the start that this is a custom plan tailored to them. You don't want it to ever get to a situation where they don't think it's worth it because it doesn't seem as organized. Letting them know that it is a custom plan tailored to their needs, it makes it a lot easier for them to be understanding that you are trying to give them the best results based on their situation. And so let me tell you why this works. So I've been helping out Engine here, and he's been building out his mindset coaching program. And so a little background about him, right? He went to uni for engineering. He got a job after uni, but he was not fulfilled. And he wanted to help others overcome mental barriers and achieve their goals because he himself went through a bunch of things that he had to overcome. Being said, he wanted to help people who were in his situation. And so ultimately, it led to him wanting to start mindset coaching. Just for reference, he never made $1 coaching before working with me. No experience in the quote-unquote world of coaching, but he had drive. He wanted to go ahead and show people that he had what it takes to get them from point A to point B. For his vehicle, it just happened to be in mindset coaching here. And so after a bunch of guidance and calls that I gave to Engine, he was able to get 3 sales in the span of 7 days. So here's our little Discord community here, but he's closed 3 clients since starting. And, these are relatively, like, I would say, lower ticket. But the crazy thing is, Engine has less than 1,000 followers on Instagram. So he was able to pull, like, let's just say this is like what, 950, 750, that is 1.7K within 7 days with an audience of lower than 1K followers. And why this beats building the course first, right? You get paid to really validate your ideas. You build your relationships, not just transactions. You learn what really works, not what you think works. And you create proof with testimonials and generate cash flow immediately. And just showing that Engine was able to do this with under 1K followers, you can see what it can do for somebody who already has a following and maybe has been posting online for, give or take, maybe a year or two. Engine didn't have any social media set up like that in the past, but he was still able to close 3 sales in the span of 7 days. And what I want to tell you guys are the biggest mistakes, and you guys should definitely avoid these. Please avoid waiting until it's perfect. It's never going to be perfect. You want to go ahead and work through it along the way. Stop undercharging as well. You need to know your worth. I've seen some people with hundreds of thousands of followers charge very low prices when they could be charging, 5 figures for their offer. If you're starting out smaller, obviously, and you just want some proof of concept, I would definitely say, still take a sale. That way you can learn as you go and you're still able to get results and testimonials. You also need to avoid building before selling. You don't want to build anything that is not going to sell in the first place or not even needed. And you need to stop being vague about the outcome. You need to be specific about what you are going to get them to achieve. If you are very vague, they're not going to know what to expect, right? And once it comes to you actually fulfilling on what you thought was going to be the outcome, they might feel unfulfilled. Lastly is not asking for the sale. You should always ask for the sale at the end of it because you want to go ahead and make money, right? Don't be afraid. It might be like nerve-wracking at first, but always ask for the sale once you get to the point of, pitching your offer. And so, yeah, that is basically how you go ahead and quick launch a course or mentorship from $0 to your first client in 7 days. No course, no tech, no BS. Once you get through this whole thing, you should have gotten your first client. And also to mention, all of this here, it's all stage 1, right? Doing everything yourself, seeing how you can get the course going. Your proof of concept is good that you can sell. And guess what? You're in business. But once you are at the point where you need to scale, I want to show you guys stage 2 as well. So stage 1, where you are now, you're doing everything. It's manual, 20 to 30 people every single day. You're taking every call, following up manually, creating the content, closing the deals, managing all your clients. And so what this results in is 4 to 10K and whatever you can handle doing this as a one-man business. And like I said, this is doing this all by yourself for stage 1. If you are at stage 2, here is where I can help. I want you to be able to do what only you can do, and everything else should be automated. Your funnels are set, landing pages are made, VSLs are automated, your CRM tracking keeps going, setters are booking calls, closers are selling, and your automations are set. So the only manual thing you would be doing is coaching and the content because, I can't go ahead and coach for you, and you have to be there to show up for your actual clients, resulting in 30 to 100 plus calls a month. And then obviously we would close on those calls. And so all these things here are the operational, but in all truth, boring things that you need for your business to scale. And we build all this in 21 days, and we guarantee that you get your first sales with this new system, or we will keep working with you for free. And so like I said, stage 1, get proof of concept, get your first sales, get your first clients, do the 7-day framework. And so once you are done with stage 1, I'll show you what it looks like to scale infrastructure within your specific business. And I hope to be talking to you soon. Bye.